Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you for having me here. It's really a pleasure. Great talks, great insights also from the colleagues before, and as well the conversations yesterday and in the evening. I'm Chris Markus Kratz. I'm Director Automotive at Amazon Web Services, and I want to answer 3 questions today during my presentation. I hope I can do this. The only thing that I cannot tell you today is where your order or your package is right now. I cannot do this. But I try to answer 3 questions today. The first of them is, how do we work as Amazon and how do we think about partnerships? The second is, how do we, why are we working with the automotive industry? Some might have that question as well. And the third is, I'm going to give you a concrete example of one of our customer cases on where we work closely in partnerships with an OEM and beyond. So I'm going to answer those questions today, hopefully. So let's start first. So how do we think as Amazon, and what is our vision and mission? And actually the vision is to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. Actually, the colleagues from ERV and Wireless Car were saying it in a very good way. It's about the seamless shopping experience. We strive to be the everything store. So everything that you can imagine as a customer that you can buy and get it from Amazon in terms of services or as well goods. That's our ambition. So, and by the way, we are a technology company as Amazon who happens to sell books by coincidence. But in the end, it's really about the technology on how you create a customer experience. And that's what's the important point here. We want to create a seamless experience with our services and how you interact with the platform. And that's how we're doing it across all of our businesses at Amazon. If you think about, like I said, Amazon.com, if you think about Alexa, if you think about, all of our supply chain and as well, the Prime delivery and everything what's entailed on this. Actually, we want to create a seamless experience that it's as easy as possible for you as a consumer to consume those services and to get actually what you want in a very seamless way. By the way, if you don't get your package in time, it's worthwhile to file a complaint. You get 2 months of Prime for free then. Okay, but I didn't tell you that officially. But what's all of this behind this, and we have that discussion, I'm gonna come back to it on later about Gen AI as well. Behind all of this is, at Amazon, what we do, we do AI ML since more than 20 years. So if you order something on the Amazon platform, you are in touch with AI ML already since a long time. And the entire supply chain that we have at Amazon is actually driven by AI systems and algorithms at large. So how do we flip that over to the auto industry now? Well, I said that, Amazon is all about the customer experience on what we do. And actually, all of our businesses and services have been created because you as a consumer or a business user has demanded these services. So at Amazon, actually, how do we innovate? You might have heard we don't do PowerPoint, so I'm an exception today. Usually we write documents at Amazon. So how do we innovate? If we see data points on our platforms, if we see usage patterns, if we get feedback from customers and data points and also anecdotes and feedback, everyone at our company can innovate actually and build a new service, and we write this down in a narrative. And in this narrative, we answer the question, first of all, who is the customer, and how, what kind of problem we're solving for the customer, and how are we going to do it? So this is how we innovate. And why am I saying this? Because, again, it's all about the customer experience that we want to create. The auto industry, and we heard it from the colleagues who were just on stage and talking about it, actually the auto industry is redefining the customer experience currently. So with software-defined vehicle, you actually make the car the next digital device. We all have our devices, we all have our smartphones, but the car will be the next device. So the ideal case is that this experience is seamless for you as a consumer and as a mobility user, that actually, if you think about it, go out of your living room or home, you actually want to have the same seamless experience by entering the car, and you want to use the same digital services in the car that you're using at home. For instance, listen to the same music, or even, in Germany, as it's very prominent, you watch the Bundesliga on Saturday afternoon, and you need to take the kids to the sports club or whatever. You get into your car, and actually then the Bundesliga gets on in the car, maybe not on the screen while you're driving, maybe in the future when you're driving autonomous it could be on the screen, but maybe then also an audio starts in the car, and you wanted to have it as seamless as possible. So why are we working with the auto industry? You might ask that question, and why are we interested as Amazon Web Services to work with the auto industry? What I said earlier, we as a company believe that we understand how a digital customer experience look like from end to end. At the same time, what I said is that the auto industry is redefining the customer experience at the same time, but what they do really well, and we're all proud of our German OEMs, but also on the OEMs globally who are innovating at a fast pace, they know how to build cars in a physical way. But since the digital and the physical world is now merging in the car, we truly believe that this is a partnership where we can collaborate closely with the OEMs and also the tier ones. So that's why we started to work in various areas across the auto industry, where we have built assets and knowledge together with our customers. Just another data point, because I said earlier that we as a company, we innovate by looking at data points, looking at anecdotal feedback, looking at customer feedback. More than 95% of the Amazon Web Services that are existing today are built because on customer feedback. So we don't innovate as a company that we sit in a basement in Seattle or wherever we have our development teams, and we have a new idea and we just bring it to market. Actually, we do it the other way around. We actually ask our customers, what do you want, what do you need, to take away the heavy lifting to build platforms. And I'm going to give an example later on this as well. So that's why we started to work in various areas across the value chain at Automotive. So if you think about, in product engineering, by the way, this will be an area which is being heavily impacted by Gen AI. Most of the areas are being impacted by Gen AI. But especially the engineering field, where engineers could actually interact with a platform even via voice and via text, and you can even feed in sentiments into that. So engineering will be redefined. And by the way, here a lot of the OEM's visions are, I'm not telling a secret here, to actually feed in direct customer feedback from the usage of the cars and the mobility into the engineering seamlessly, to actually build new services and products that are tailored to the customers right away, that get into production. For sure, the digital customer experience, it's a pretty straightforward area where we work with customers. The journey starts very early, already on social media, even way before you use mobility services or you buy a car. That's where we work with OEMs on how to define the customer journey already in those earlier years. For instance, it's not always done with Amazon, but maybe sometimes Amazon advertising is also being used, where customers are being guided to an OEM or to a mobility provider if you're searching for this on the internet. For sure, manufacturing, one area where we work with a lot of manufacturing companies and OEMs together. I mean, this is the operation at the open heart, because this is where the real magic happens in manufacturing. And actually, we as Amazon, we think about manufacturing as well, because all of the fulfillment centers that we operate globally, we see that actually as a production, and it's pretty close to a production process of a manufacturing manufacturer, on where you have to keep on an operation. And by the way, this operation that we do at Amazon is fully done out of the cloud. We don't have any on-prem technology. It's all done on the cloud. So this is where we're working and transforming with OEMs the manufacturing area. And for sure, connected mobility was being talked at with Wireless Car, where we collaborate closely, for instance, with Wireless Car, but also with others like BMW and as well Mercedes-Benz. And the software-defined vehicle, that's a really broad area. I think just putting it on the slide doesn't put justice to it on how broad this range of the software-defined vehicle is. But this is really where the digitalization of the car starts. The digitalization is not just on the head unit in the car, but it's far beyond that. It's the hardware in the car. It's how the car is being designed, how the networking works in a car, and also how the car in the future will be connecting, because just with a 5G standard, that won't be enough in the future if the car really becomes a rolling device. Just think about how many data you create on your smartphone, or if you do a Skype call or a Teams call with your smartphone. In the future, you're going to do this with your car. You need more connectivity than just a 5G connection. So looking into the future, that is one of the use cases where Amazon is investing into satellite technology as well, to provide, not only to provide internet to the areas across the globe where the internet is not yet covered, but also in terms of mobility and the auto industry to provide connectivity for the cars going forward. I just want to touch real quick Gen AI, because this is really transformative. Everyone is talking about it. I just want to share our opinion about this and also segue into partnerships in that perspective. So we as a company, as I said, we're already using AI since a very long time. For sure, I would say the hype cycle with Gen AI that we see in the last 1.5 years has really accelerated the discussion in public, but it already has been there before in technology companies. We think about, as Amazon, we think about ecosystems all of the time. We think about, open source was being mentioned. Our services are being built on open source. The idea is that you provide the best tool for the purpose job, that you as a consumer and as a company, that you can actually use the best tool for the purpose that you want to solve. So we have an open strategy here, and we want to actually provide APIs to the industry where you as an OEM or as an end customer can build on top of it. Then we take away the heavy lifting. The important thing is here that we can't do this alone. We need to work in partnerships. And as you can think about, just real quick, we think about Gen AI in 3 layers. The first layer is the infrastructure layer, which is pretty straightforward. This is the IT infrastructure that you need. We develop our own chips. We have been doing this at Amazon for a very long time. We are not just building chips for compute, but we're also building chips for inferentia and as well for training, which is important because a lot of the costs and a lot of the heavy lifting for Gen AI is actually training the models and actually then running the models. And you need to do this at scale and to do this at a good price point, you need the appropriate hardware to do so. The second layer that we have, and this is where I talked about that we believe that there needs to be an ecosystem and it needs to be open. We don't believe as a company that one large language model will rule it all. We think that many large language models, or you as a consumer or as a customer, you need to be able to choose the large language model that fits your purpose best. So there might be large language models, you know, in the manufacturing industry. The colleague from ERV was just saying this. If you have built, you know, a really specific algorithm that is really good, for instance, for mapping or routing, why not use it? Why develop your own? It just doesn't make sense. It's not. It doesn't make sense from an economical standpoint. So with Amazon Bedrock, we provide access to large language models. Just the other day, we announced that we just integrated Claude 3 from Anthropic, but also the Amazon large language models like Titan. You can access them through Bedrock. And again, I want to reiterate on this. We truly believe that not one large language model will rule it all. You actually need to have the ability to be flexible and to access multiple large language models. The application layer, for sure, I mean, Amazon Code Whisperer is pretty straightforward. It's Gen AI application to write software code to take away the heavy lifting for developers and software developers, but also Amazon Q in Connect. In Amazon Connect, by the way, Amazon Connect is when you as a consumer interact with Amazon.com via chat or via phone or via email. This is the system that we made available via AWS to end customers, where you can actually build your own contact center for your own customers, but it's using the Amazon, the learnings from Amazon, the Amazon technology, and as well, and this is in this case true, the Amazon large language models in that perspective. Why did I explain this? Because I want to make sure that we can't innovate by our own. We also want to get away from a supplier and customer relationship. We rather want to work in partnerships. And it's so important because the auto industry is developing so fast and innovating so fast, you can just do it in partnerships. And in a partnership, the difference to, you know, a supplier and customer relationship is in a partnership, you have a common vision, you have a common purpose. And if you work together, you try to solve it together. Rather in a customer and supplier relationship, usually there are contracts. And if something doesn't work out and it isn't working out well, and we all know how complicated big projects and IT projects are, then the finger pointing starts, and that's actually not our approach. We want to work in partnerships. Before I close out, I promised you to make a concrete example to bring it all together on where we work in those partnerships. In this case, that is one of the customers, one of our lead customers that my team is working with is BMW in Munich, and I'm not telling secrets here, that's all publicly known. But here you see Freude am Fahren, the pleasure of driving, or the ultimate driving machine. That's all about the customer experience. And as I said earlier, we truly believe as a company that we have our share and can provide some insights on how a digital customer experience looks like, and that's why we work together very closely. Also, we are engineers at heart at Amazon, and the BMW folks are also engineers who always like to innovate, as well as the Volkswagen people and the Daimler guys. You know, and this is why, you know, the collaboration on a cultural basis works very well. How did that journey look like? In 2020, we started the first partnership with BMW. For instance, we built, BMW wanted to become a data-driven company and wanted to culturally transform the company as well. Very interesting. They wanted to break up the silos, the data silos within the company, and actually bring all data together in a data lake. We developed this together with BMW in a partnership, and actually that is one of the reasons why BMW got through the chip crisis pretty well, because they were able to use the data across the entire company to monitor the demand for chips for the cars and as well the supply. In 2021, we started the journey to migrate the connected car workload to AWS to operate all of the BMW cars that are connected globally, but also to modernize the applications to exactly do what the colleague just said on the SDV part, to develop new functionality and actually shorten the time to market for BMW. Then we also develop software for the car, for the SDV, that is going to get into the Neue Klasse. That's going to hit the market in 2025, where we really develop together software which we make available to the broader industry. The last that I want to mention in terms of partnership, where we work together with startups, with partners, with SIs, with specialized partners, for instance, like D-Space. In this case, also a hardware provider, Qualcomm. We entered a partnership with BMW on the autonomous driving, and we are building a platform for autonomous driving to develop on that platform. And this platform is going to be, in the future, is going to be made available to the broader industry, that all of the OEMs and whoever wants to work on autonomous driving can actually build the differentiating part on top. Having said this, I hope I gave you some insights into how we think and how we work together with the auto industry, and why we are doing it, and why we believe we can bring value to the auto industry, and why we also work in partnerships and think in ecosystems. I'm happy to take questions now. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Chris. We have a couple of questions. We have no time, more or less, but I will take one. Okay. What do you do with the data that you collect? Remains BMW's data its own, or do you use it maybe indirectly?
That's an easy one, real quick. It stays with BMW. We don't see the data. Actually, at AWS, we cannot access the data of our customers. That's protected. So the data ownership remains with BMW, and that's exactly the point that the colleague said earlier. You as an OEM, whoever you are, you want to actually create your own customer experience, and that's very important, right? And that's why I said we build platforms that you can innovate on top, but the differentiating part you should do by yourself, because that's also your intellectual property in that case.
Okay, as you see, we have many questions. Maybe you're around to take a few of them afterwards. Absolutely. Chris, for the moment, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to have you on stage.
Thank you.